Hello my gorgeous friends on the internet. So in the previous video I showed you how to add your first to-do to a GraphQL endpoint, GraphQL server actually, using provider and GraphQL. Okay, so today's video I'm going to show you how to fetch those data and display them here. But before we do that, we need to create a schema. That means describe the type of data we want to get, the same way we did for this add task schema. Okay, where we have to create this schema and to define the type of data that we're going to get. But before we do that, we are going to head over to our GraphQL playground. Yeah, we need to play a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to fetch those data. The last one we did was query mutation to add data. So I'm going to create a new tab here. Okay, so let's see. Now we want to make queries to get the to do. So let's see what happens. Get to do argument, we pass in the status and then search. So these two parameters are they are optional. So even if we don't pass it, it's still going to return the data. But if we pass it, it's going to return the data. But in this case, I don't think we're going to be using it. But we're still going to pass it, but we're going to put empty string there. The reason why I said it's optional is because it doesn't have exclamation mark, okay, like this one here, which is compulsory, like it's mandatory, we need to. But this one, we can pass empty string, we cannot pass any string at all, it's still not going to throw any error. But to be on the safer side, we are going to create, since it's a query we want to do, you can see query get to do. I'm going to use query, and then if you have plenty to do's here, just call their name. But in this case, I'm just going to do get to do's, and then we'll pass in the status. I'm just going to pass it to be an empty string because we don't need that. Yeah, obviously we don't need that because we are not actually making search query here or whatsoever. But if you want to make search query, it's still a similar method. You just have to use your intuitive, yeah, and just work with it. Yeah. So you can also create a parameter here to the same way we did for mutation, and then pass the variables whenever you want to make the request. Okay, so I'm going to show us how to do this. So if you look at this now, what are the data that it's returning? It's actually returning four data: the ID, the tax that was added, the status, and the time added. So remember from our UI, the only thing we sorry guys. So remember from our UI, the only thing that we need to pass here is the to do title and the to do time. So we don't need the status, we don't need anything. You can actually go and play around with that one for your own practice to learn how to use that. But for now, we're just only going to pass the title, which is the title is basically the task. It's basically the task and then the time added. Okay, but for this, I think I also need to get the ID as well. So first thing first, ID, we are going to return it, the task, and then the time that it was added. Okay, so let's make the request to see if you're going to get anything. So let's click here. I hope we get all the data that was added. Okay, I think I'm seeing watch close. This was actually the one that he added before now. Okay, maybe while he was testing the API. But from the ones we added, you can see we added my first task, only. We also added YouTube task. We also added another task. So to confirm this, let's try to add another data again. Hello world. Okay, add. Please wait. To do task was added successfully. So let's refresh this page to see if that will be added. Go down, you can see we have the hello world that was just added today. All right, so I think all these stuffs are working now. So what we need to do is just to copy this query. Yeah, copy the query and go over to our schema, create another query, which is get task schema dot dat. Okay, that is not the spelling of that, so I'm going to rename that. Okay, and then we can paste it here. So just similar stuff, create a class, get task schema, like so. We can create a static class, static variable, get task JSON. Remember we use three column, yeah, 3 quotes, double quotes, and then you can paste it here. Yeah, so this one now we don't need to add that exclamation because there was nothing like dollar. We don't need to add the backslash because we didn't use dollars here. Okay, so this is it, guys. So we have successfully added our schema, and I think I need to close the other one I did. Okay, it's already closed. The URL, I need to close this class because we don't need it. The endpoint, we also need to close it. I think we might need it, but the home page, that, yeah, this is where we'll be working on now, but we're just going to leave it like this for now. Then I'm going to go to this provider and create another provider again, which is get tax provider dot, okay, like so. And I'm also going to do the same thing. So, but in this case, I think I need to do some expo here, some copycat here, which is this add tax. So I'm just going to copy this stuff because this is what we'll be needing. But in this case, we're also going to create another getter and setter, which is for list, to store the list of data that was returned. Okay, so I'll just copy this because I don't need to rewrite all these stuffs again and again. So let's go to get tax, replace it, and then we're going to change this stuff to get tax provider, and then this one is going to be get tax. And now we don't need this query and all this stuff anymore. We don't need that parameters, and I don't think we need variables, so I think I will get that one off as well. All right, so I'm going to stop here for this video, and then in the next video we are going to continue and edit these pages. All right.